Concerning best practices, and that's the name of this course 5, we as early care and education providers have the children from 0 to sometimes age 12, but our main focus is on ages 0 to age 5. So that's why it's so important for us to talk about the basics of early brain development. So infants are born with the best of 100 billion brain cells, and that's the stage when so many of them come to us. And so we are, as early care and education providers, laying the foundation for their future learning. Children are born ready to learn. The human brain develops more rapidly between birth and age 5 than during any other subsequent period. Children cultivate 90% of the base for intellect, personality, and skills by age 5. So when we look at this, according to Newsweek, February 19, 1996, they say that early childhood experiences exert a dramatic and precise impact, physically determine how the intricate neural circuits of the brain are wired. So our environment, or the environment that the children are in, impacts their brain development. So regardless of the general environment, all children need stimulation and nurturance for healthy development. If these are lacking, the child's brain development may be impaired. And according to the USDHFS, because the brain adapts to its environment, it will adapt to a negative environment just as readily as it will adapt to a positive environment. So looking at this, you see the different connections that are made. Now, as a newborn, you see it over here on the left-hand side, all the way up to 2 years of age. You see the different connections that are made. Brain development is activity dependent, meaning that the electrical activity in every circuit, sensory, motor, emotional, cognitive, shapes the way that circuits get put together. Like computer circuits, neural circuits process information through the flow of electricity. Unlike computer circuits, however, the circuits in our brains are not fixed structures. Every experience, whether it is seeing one's first rainbow, riding a bicycle, reading a book, sharing a joke, excites certain neural circuits and leaves others inactive. Those that are consistently turned on over time will be strengthened, while those that are rarely excited may be dropped away. Saying all this to say that experience makes a difference. The human brain begins forming very early in prenatal life, just 3 weeks after conception. But in many ways, brain development is a lifelong project. That's because the same events that shape the brain during development are also responsible for storing information, new skills, and memories throughout life. The major difference between brain development in a child versus learning in an adult is a matter of degree. The brain is far more impressionable. Neuroscientists use the term plastic in early life than in maturity. This plasticity has both a positive and a negative side. On the positive side, it means that young children's brains are more open to learning and enriching influences. On the negative side, it also means that young children's brains are more vulnerable to developmental problems should their environment prove especially impoverished or unnurturing. So if you look at the brain structure, or the side view, if you draw a line from forehead to chin and open the brain for a side view, this is what you would see. The structural organization and functional capabilities of the mature brain develop throughout life, with the vast majority of the critical structural organization taking place in childhood. Brain development is characterized by, number 1, sequential development and sensitivity from the brainstem to the cortex, and number 2, use-dependent organization of these various brain areas. As the more complex limbic, subcortical, and cortical areas organize, they begin to modulate, moderate, and control the more primitive and reactive lower portions of the brain. A frustrated 3-year-old with a relatively unorganized cortex will have a difficult time modulating the reactive brainstem-mediated state of arousal. She or he will scream, kick, bite, and hit. However, the older child, when frustrated, may feel like kicking, biting, and hitting, but she or he has built in the capacity to modulate and inhibit this activity. So various brain areas develop, organize, and become fully functional at different times. So the brainstem is fully developed and functioning at birth. It's responsible for life functions such as regulating cardiovascular and respiratory function and controlling body temperature. The brainstem must be fully functional at birth in order for an infant to survive. The cerebellum modulates automatic movements and balance, influencing the movement of a cup to the lips and the steps of a dancer. A person with damage in this area of the brain cannot coordinate movement. The midbrain is involved with motor regulation, sleep, responses, and appetite. Then the limbic system that addresses attachment, the emotional area of our brain, as well as memory. And then the cortex, that's the thinking part of our brain. Language and mathematical activity occur in the cortex. So, learning takes place all throughout life, but there are periods when one or another brain system is especially open to new experiences and especially able to take advantage of them. So we have the critical windows of opportunity. So for visual development, it's from birth to 6 months. So with the visual development, there must be opportunities for visual stimulation and also so there must be opportunities for visual stimulation, and also as time passes, there are more connections made. Then for the emotional development, there must be a nurturing environment that encourages emotional stability, and it also impacts cognitive development. And as caregivers, we must respond quickly and warmly and maintain consistent caregiving as well as consistent caregivers. For language development, children birth to 3 years old must hear language frequently throughout the day and have direct interactive language. For math development, this is the time where they develop the basic skills such as sorting, and we need to make sure we introduce skills like sorting and different terminology like few and many, big and small, etc. So the brain needs nurturing and stimulating environments, repetition of positive experiences, nutrition and sleep, fun and caring interactive experiences, routines and consistency, positive and consistent relationships, and adults that understand development. So we as early care and education providers, we get the children at their most important time.